Okay, hello.
Holidays.
Holidays. This
Holiday
is
time.
holiday. Our town has plenty.
That's right.
Because it does, doesn't it?
It does.
I don't know where I don't know.
I'm not sure. Tickety-boo.
What are we doing?
How does this work again?
How does this work?
We're on
'Cause
holiday, so
we've-
it's been too hot.
It's been too hot. We haven't
Yeah.
slept. It's
No.
been stormy, hasn't it? However, there's been loads going on.
There's been a storm and a half of things going on, for sure. And one of those we really wanted to cover because it was just so fantastic.
So
And so, yes, we had the wonderful Beverly Harling, didn't we? In for interview a while ago. This is her static face on her album. And it was this is from 10 years ago, her last album, and this is now the new album that we are talking about today. Because we went to the
behind
album.
the washing line.
Yes, the launch was behind the washing line. The album is called Ploughing the Salt Sea, and it's on a postcard download with a personalised postcard. So you can buy these around town as well, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we just said we really need to talk about this. So
We do. It was such an incredible evening. I was not prepared for what I witnessed and got to experience. It was just one of the best nights out. So, yeah. She's incredibly evocative, isn't she? I've seen her play before several times in the Old Town and thought, gosh, she can carry a tune, that woman. How do I go beyond that? Very beautiful to look at. Yeah, it's really good. Oh, this is really nice. This is great. And then this happened. And all of a sudden there was, in fact, it was that the Hastings Theatre, Hastings Theatre Company? Project, thank you, HTP. When she did the DFL with Ellie. And it was great, and it was like, no, I like her more. But then this, woof! I'm a proper full-on fan.
you're a super fan.
I am a super fan.
You've got like all the stars.
I
you know.
have got all the stars.
Falling off the badge. there are
All
so
off
many.
the badge. There's so many. I've just they've gone it all the way down my arm.
Yeah.
But from the minute we walked in, because it was at the stables, and from the minute we walked in to the end, I was reluctant to go home. It felt like she had brought the old town to life in a very different way.
Yeah.
Because so for me, anything musical or theatrical is a multi-sensory experience beyond your average. I felt so. She said this is about connection to family C and the past, but also it felt like I met some incredible women in her life.
Yeah.
Now these are women who are in her lineage. So you've been in this from the start.
Yeah, I worked with Bev, 2 or 3 years ago now, to map out how to move from where she was at with her creative practice to then this story that she wanted to explore, and she'd been digging into her family history. It was a really fun time to work together, and so when she mentioned it at the show that the stables, so Neil gifted her the space in order to be able to develop her one-woman show, Ploughing the Salt Sea, and she rang on my door, January 5th, and it was a very cold January. Do you want to come to the stables? So off we went, and she was describing Mrs. Hum, who came to life in the bar. And we've got lots of funny footage that I'll send you a little bit of it, Rack, that we can put in of basically her developing those storylines in the space and overlooking the old town. You can see the West Hill, thank you, East Hill, just there, and then there was the lifeboat just opposite that she also mentioned. So seeing it from the beginning meant that it's been really fun to also witness other people getting involved, and I just knew you'd love it, so I was very pleased that you were coming along. So yeah, I was there on the merch stand as you came in, and
You did. You were selling her album. So instead of Bev's gone from making vinyl now to making things much more sustainable, hasn't she? She's gone on that journey.
Yeah.
Hence the QR code and the code that you download. So part of me feels, oh, I would love to have another album to have, but she's right, be sustainable. So she's gone down. So you were on the merch and you were meeting everybody.
Yeah, meeting everyone as they rolled in, and there were some lovely guests who were then speaking at the album launch, and others who were asking, is there a hard copy? And it's like, no, it's downloadable, and we can sort it out if you want it sent to you. And
Sure.
And people who, yeah, definitely that we recognised from around town, and the kind of crowd that Bev gathers is always, you feel like you kind of get a hug on your way in, everybody's excited. And Charlie, her son, Charlie Moon, was there selling his seagull cards.
I have
Have you
them.
got some?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
bought them.
we had a bit of a competition going on, myself and my friend Michelle on the merch, with Charlie about who was going to sell more
Charlie Moon. Yeah, Charlie Moon art.
stuff. And you did pretty well. So well done, Charlie.
Well
Super
done.
enterprising.
Yeah, Charlie.
And now you can buy these at the stables. So
Yeah.
they've
That's
ordered
great.
a batch of them as well. So, but yes, just that kind of feeling before the show, and then we snuck in at the back. You were right at the front. So I just wondered how that was as you came in.
It was phenomenal. So they have a setup in the stables that the front is for disabled people or people who might need extra room. But if you're lucky, you can grab yourself a front seat, because as soon as they're lifted, you go, oh, I'll have one of those. Because I do like the full-on experience.
Yeah.
Although I was a bit cheated, if you like, because where Bev's music stand was, I couldn't get a headshot of Frank. So I could see Frank's body all the time, but I was trying very hard to get a headshot of Frank. But but it was just being at the front row. She didn't come on like a washerwoman, which she was in old photographs and old reincarnations, carnations, not flowers, but like you would be. But what she did, on the album, when you listen to the album, you've got these wonderful interwoven sounds of seagulls and the sea and the waves and people that she's interviewed throughout. And that's lovely. You didn't get that on the stage, but I only heard the album after.
Yeah.
What she managed to create when she told it in the album launch was, my account was, my hands felt gnarly and dry from washing. My hips hurt from holding a basket. This was all drummed up by her speaking. The hot soap smells, boiling soap. There's a very particular smell of boiling soap back in the day. You don't get it now. But back in the day when we had twin tubs and open washing, I'm old enough to remember that. Things where you put the copper stick in and all that sort of nonsense. You could smell when soap was coming to the boil. It has a particular smell. Women in heavy boots and big thick pinnies that were their daily clothes. But what she did, she created this environment through music and storytelling. Very good at that. Very good at that. So when this event comes out, you must go. Because what she did was, her research meant for me that I could picture the old town, instead of this, what now is a very quaint, picturesque old town, strewn with washing lines, and strewn with, and the beach would have been strewn with people's laundry getting dry on the hot beach stones. So there would have been washing all over the place, but the Twittons and the gullies, and that was one of the songs particularly. But what she did was she conjured up the Bourne Street bathhouse, which didn't close. So there was a bathhouse, there's a wash house and bathhouse, so you could go along for a fee, you washed your clothes and you had 3 big receptacles to wash. So you'd wash. There was boiling, there was washing, and rinsing, and then there was a mechanical object that you not spinning, but
like
basically
a mangle type thing.
Yeah, a mangle, but
Or a
something.
press.
Yeah, it was mangle, but others, but much heavier duty. So you got to be able to do that, and if you paid somebody a halfpenny to watch it, you were lucky if when you got back it was still there. So wash day was literally wash day. I remember when I was a kid growing up, my mum, Monday was wash day, and she had a twin tub and everything was piled up in the kitchen. She had white, she had coloured, she had darks, and everything was taken with tongs out from one to another and rinsed. And, but it was one of the best days because you got to sit and have a chat with your mum about everything during the day. So, no, it was a good day. Not so much now because we just stuff it inside a front-facing thing that just looks like eat me, and we just feed it, turn it on, walk away, and go and get on with something else.
Yeah.
But what she brought to life was the Bourne Street Wash House, which didn't close until 1966. So that gives you an idea. Opened in Victorian times, 1800s.
And it's now the Isabel Blackman Centre.
And it's now the Isabel Blackman Centre. So yeah, it was fascinating. So what they used, so Frank Moon, Bev's partner, Charlie's dad, plays lots of different instruments. So he plays, Bev plays violin, and so between them they play the violin, the mandolin, a sitar, which is something you see actually in, I've got to think of the Vermeer was the painter that you always used to see a sitar in.
Yeah.
So it looks like an old lute. Pearl earring artist, Dutch. Accordions, the glasses for Mrs. Hum.
Yes.
And it was, but using all these instruments and the way that Bev puts together lyrics which are beseeching, they're heart-rending lyrics, to this music which sounds very much of the age.
Definitely, yeah. And 100-year-old pump organ she was using
And a
as
pump
well for
organ,
this.
yes.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely, her pump organ. Thank you for that. I'd forgotten that. So it was just magical. It was like a beautiful evening of storytelling, and humour, and sadness at what people were doing in that time and what was happening at that time. There were lots of different things were happening at that time, but the point I'm trying to make is to give you a window into what it was like, particularly to be a woman in that time. But also her tracing her
Family
ancestry.
Yeah.
She didn't know she was a fishing child.
I know. Yeah, for her whole upbringing here, she didn't know, and then
She's a white.
yeah,
A white family.
that's right. Yeah, and the way that she told those discoveries as well was it is like a little kind of mystery, treasure hunt that you're on with her, and these things get discovered, these different gems along the way.
Yeah.
And she screened a lovely interview, didn't she, with I've forgotten the name of the woman now.
Oh, I have
Should we
notes.
have it?
She has notes. Of course, she has notes. So, what was her
Was it
name?
Violet?
She was
Yeah.
Violet Bailey.
Violet, thank you.
And Ron off camera. You could hear
Yes,
Ron's
Ron
voice,
was
couldn't
brilliant.
you? Ron was directing operations, wasn't
Yeah, and that was just a really lovely thing to hear. Just basically Violet telling the story of Bev's great uncle,
he? Yeah.
who was trawling a mine, as it turns out, on the Happy Return boat, and that whole story. Just also the other guests that she had, because we were up at the back. So
the mine got caught in the net.
Yeah, and you could hear the audience go, ooh, as that was being told.
Blew the side of the boat out.
Yeah.
Sunk it.
Yeah. Yes, and then to identify the body of her great uncle Louis. One of the ways to do that was the Gansey that he was wearing, which she discovered was which is the way that they say Guernsey jumpers here is Gansey.
Gansey.
So yes, and that it had a god's eye on it that was particular to the family, and just all of that to be she didn't know any of that before she started this whole process, and it's just it's
No.
wonderful to be on that journey with her. And the song that she wrote about the happy return is epic. It's
They're all
beautiful.
They're all epic. So
Yeah.
I made notes actually about all the different songs, but the Gansey, good old Sussex. We change something, don't we?
Yeah.
So the Gansey is says she trying to find her. Here it is. No. Oh, have I lost my piece of work on the Gansey? I can't believe I've lost them. No, it must be here. Twittens, let no man steal your time. This is talk amongst yourself, listeners. The Bud interview, yeah, clean. So where's the Gansey one? I definitely wrote about it. I think I'm a page. Am I a page short? I must be a page short. So the Gansey is as Kath said, it's the song. Oh, it's Stitching the Fabric of Time.
Okay.
Fisherman's Gansey. I knew it was here. So the stitches told stories. So as these dark blue sweaters with a high neck were there to keep the fishermen warm and protected because of how they were sewn. They were very, very tight sewn. But the women, all the men, because they weren't just made by women, but they were sewn with the family emblem, which is what you said. The what was the
God's
eye?
eye.
God's eye. But also what they used to stitch, there'd be certain stitches for talismans. So the whole point was you're going to sea to catch the fish. You're bravely going to sea to catch the fish that we on land are eating. So these brave men would go to sea, catch the thing that we take for granted that's sold on the beach.
Yeah.
But they would sew these talismans in, so when they went to sea, which was a very perilous way to live. Every day people would expect them to go out, whatever the weather, and they would go out and they would bring back a catch, which everybody would rely on. But the Gansey, it's actually in the Hastings Museum, so it's in a wonderful glass case with all the description about how it's been. So there'll be photographs up throughout this with all the different things in. But yeah, I know, because we don't say Guernsey here.
We don't say Guernsey,
we Gansey, because we're in Sussex.
Yeah, that's right.
Sussex won't be druv. So, but the beginning actually got me. So from the start, so she starts with a shanty. So this woman, the fact that she's got fisherman's blood in her, you can tell everything she sings sounds like she's literally got the cells are all re-energised. These are all your fisherman cells. These are all your fishing family cells. So when she starts the first song, Ploughing the Salt Sea, so that's a shanty basically. So what I love about that song is they set up with the sun. So it doesn't matter whether you're the man of the house or the woman of the house, you're out doing whatever it is required. You get up with the sun, you go to bed. And at the end of the day. But it's a magical song. So it's about the Hastings fishing community. And it introduces you to the family.
That's right.
Who they are, the Hastings fishermen and the whites. But yeah. And then you go on, Twittens and Gutters. So this is plucked. So she plays the violin. It's her favourite instrument. It's her. It's like basically another
An extension
limb.
of Bev, really.
Of Bev, thank you. It's beautiful. So it's plucked evocatively. It's lovely. So it tells the stories of the women that she came from. I come from illegitimate shame and making do, and women who give birth without their mother's present.
Yeah.
Really sort of gets you. So she's telling it, but she tells the story. What's so lovely about Bev is she tells this story with no shame, with such pride.
Yeah.
And pride and love, and that's what I love about these. You can stand there and feel that as one of these women you would have been very much looked after, because people can throw shade on illegitimacy and difficulty in community, but not for Bev.
No, no.
That's not how she promotes it.
Yeah, she's honouring all of those stories and the way that she does stand incredibly proud in that. And she explained that she worked with a transformational coach called Mo Cohen who, whilst developing the storyline and understanding things about her own family history, there is a lot to face within that. So having somebody to hold that for her alongside has been really important to the process as well, I think. So
Yeah.
and he, I think, co-wrote Ploughing the Salt Sea, that first one. So yeah, Twittons and Gutters is another fantastic song. And you almost feel like you're being walked through all the different areas of the town.
Yeah, she really familiarises you with her lyrics. They're very, very clever. And an album hasn't moved me this much since Joni Mitchell.
Oh, wow.
Blue.
Yeah.
It hasn't moved me this much. This is just phenomenal.
And you said it's just been in your head
It's just been in my head.
Last week.
Yeah, that and Jim James from last week. It's just because these are the musicians that are telling their story with a very light production touch, if you like.
Yeah.
So you can really feel its authenticity, and that's what I love. I love the authenticity.
Yeah.
So then she goes on to sing Let No Man Steal Your Time. All the women in the audience.
Yes. Yeah.
We felt like we were all holding hands.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think our time is when she refers to our time?
Well,
I think it is.
It felt to me like it was that instead of allowing someone else's story to lead you through life, to hold on to your time as in TIME.
No,
so it's not.
It's
THYME.
It's as in the herb.
Because she did give a little story around that beforehand, didn't she? So
to me, your time is your chasteness. Your time is your virginity. Your time is your special. Unsullied, if you like. And there you have these young women who, I think a woman is a branching tree, she says, a man's a clinging vine, and from her branches carelessly he'll take what he can find. So the song is as old as time itself.
Yes.
Time and time.
Yeah.
So if I have misinterpreted that, I will eat my hat.
No, I don't think you have, because there was also something about things being covered with rue, which is the herb that you use to stop a pregnancy from happening.
Yeah,
in
an unwanted
those times.
pregnancy,
Yeah.
they'd rub rue, and it would abort. Yeah, it would. You wouldn't be able to take a child to term. So if a young woman got caught, there was a way that the community would all come together, and the women would all gather round and they would help her, and it would be, there we go, we'll deal with that for you. So, but rue was also very dangerous because it can kill. So it was such a intricate thing.
Yeah, I didn't actually know the song until listening to Bev sing it. Then I think Pentangle have played it and all sorts of others as well, and it is a well-known folk song. It's really beautiful the way that she draws it out and she pulls it together and threading it through this album and through the storytelling of Ploughing the Salt Sea. It works really well as a marker, a bit like Ring a Ring of Roses or those other things that do have such depth to the story behind those nursery rhymes and the story behind Let No Man Steal Your Time. So it was, and Frank Moon on oud, as you've noted there.
I know.
That gave it an extra depth as well.
Because it's such an old instrument, isn't it? Yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely, lovely. But she goes on to talk about her grandpa George Hutchinson. So she sings a song, Homemade Wine, which is really fun. And basically, Grandpa George wasn't what you'd call a worker, more a grifter.
Yeah, definitely.
Bit of a rapscallion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Natural thinker.
natural thinker.
For being kind.
Yeah, blagger, I think
A
is what
blagger,
you've got
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So larceny by trick was what he was. So he appeared in the local newspapers. So it wasn't hard to find George because George, when Bev was doing her research, George stuck out as a bit of a ne'er-do-well, I think that with the phrase would be. So he stole a motorcycle he'd got knocked on a door and stole it and said, "Oh, that's a nice bike. Yeah, it's my husband's. He'll be home from work soon." It disappeared. And it's quite an amusing story about how that happened, but I won't, you need to come back and see it really. But he swore at policemen who was trying to deal with a situation, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he got fined 10 shillings. George, drinking homemade wine.
That's right.
Yeah, really funny. And then there was a Bud interview. What a lovely man. Tell me about what you thought
Bud.
about that.
That was great. He just seemed so proud of the work that he'd done as a Coast Guard for
54 years.
Yeah. And he'd come along to the first performance of Ploughing the Salt Sea at the stables, and didn't know that these stories would be being shown that were all about his family as well.
Family.
So he realised, and they realised afterwards, that they are cousins.
Yeah.
Of one remove or another.
Sure.
And so as a result now, Bev and Bud and his brother are going to be, Pete, thank you, going to be meeting and talking about that this week actually. I think
4th of July, Friday.
Yeah.
So this goes out on the Thursday. So if you want to wander down to the Hastings Contemporary, it'll be a really good night of storytelling.
That's right.
Because Bud's a great storyteller, and if
Yeah.
there's anything
he
like
was
that.
very, he was so just him. And I'm pretty sure I've seen him around town since as well. Like.
What a sweet man, really sweet man. But he was regaling his stories about what it was like growing up in the old town, where all the kids used to get chucked out at first light, a bit like London really, and you were left to go off and do your own thing.
Yeah, just pick around wherever and
building sites usually.
Yeah.
He found himself inside pipes, and it was really funny. But
it was great.
Yeah, and but he was saying about also that the women of the old town, which is where we're going to go really with this, the women of the old town were as absolutely intrinsic in the body of it, because the women would often be pulling up the lifeboats.
Yeah.
They'd also be helping launch the lifeboats. They'd be doing a lot to do with the lifeboats. I mean, so, and some would go out on them. So it wasn't just a case of it was all a man's life. There was often a woman's life.
No. I think everyone was rolling up their sleeves and helping.
Yeah.
And that was one thing he was saying, wasn't it? That's just the kind of everybody helping each other together is something that's still...
It was a community.
We feel that still now.
It built community.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's still the same, still today. Yeah, it was really, really neat. Yeah. And then that's where Violet comes in, I think, Clean. She also, on the album, the track Clean talks about what it's like to, and it's 3/4 time, which is dun 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 dun, so it's like a waltz. It's a brilliant song. What would he do, she says in her lyrics, if I just stopped, as he stays in the pub all day, giving me what for when he gets back, and then putting his sea boots on my clean steps.
Yeah.
Oh,
she was joined, wasn't she, by Kin for that?
she was.
In the
They were
performance
great.
there.
They
Yeah,
had a
they were
trio
really
from
lovely.
Kin, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Windy old weather.
Stormy old weather, when the wind blows, we'll all together.
Terrible rendition. But it was, so the boys got up from Completely Scuppered, who you will see around town, Jenny Lind and I want to say the Marina Fountain now. They go down to the Marina Fountain. So they've got 2 gigs a week.
Yeah.
But they're brilliant. So they got up and did their shanty. And
That's
they got
right.
us all involved, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It was nice to see Alan. He wasn't wearing
Oh,
green.
Alan.
He was just,
I
there with his
know.
full beard. Hi, Kath.
Oh no,
Came in.
lovely Alan.
Big hug.
We love Alan Griffiths. If you go back and look at our Jack in the Green, that's Alan sitting there, lovely.
Yeah,
What a
interview.
good soul. Then she came on to do Mrs. Hum.
Mm-hmm.
So Mrs. Hum had the Fortune War. Now, it always used to be known as Fortune or War back in the day, but the pub sign had Fortune of War, which was, if you go up Priory Road, so if you go along Mount Pleasant, roundabout by, we always used to call it the Safeways roundabout, Queen's Road, up Elphinston, round into Mount Pleasant and go up as if you're going up to War Village. When you get to the top where the junction with Priory is, it's small, it's short because you've got the land drops away to go to Farley Bank.
Mm.
So can you imagine a big pub like that on that corner? Because there's not now, it's just some houses and a little, it's a little corner shop at the top of Priory, isn't there? So, so can you imagine? So this pub used to stick out. We'll have a big photo of it up there. So this pub was quite generous, and it was done out like a proper marine pub. So when you go to any marine, there's the Marine in Eastbourne, and it's for the same reason. It's not like it anymore, but there's always a marine type pub.
Yeah.
On the in a seaside town, but this was done out like a ship inside, and but they did take it down very sadly. What a shame. So what am I looking at here? Yeah, decked out. So on the shallow corner. So what used to happen? The buses used to come up Mount Pleasant, and they'd have to carefully navigate round the side of the pub until the Fortune of War was no longer. But it was a majestic looking building, isn't it? Yes.
And that was where Mrs. Hum was the proprietress.
She was the landlady.
Yeah.
She was not from here because she spoke with a very different accent, love, which was sounds like very London. But that story about her and her guns.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
You got to give that one a listen to.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is like she's just walked in. You know, the way that Bev performs it.
Because she's Sussex, London, and then you've got this wonderful bit of Mrs. You can feel like she's channeling Mrs. Gunn.
Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Hum. Sorry, with a gun.
Mrs. Gunn.
Mrs. Hum. Beg your pardon, my bad. Yeah. So there were three more songs. The Happy Return. So that was the name of the lugger boat. Mm-hmm. So luggers were what used to bring in the herring, traditionally. Not terribly big. And ironically, it was called the Happy Return, and it wasn't, because that's the one that you said that was trawling a mine, which then went off and took. And they found it 3 miles off Rye. 3 miles outside Rye. Yeah. Yeah. Rye Harbour, and they got a guy in to do a dive from London, a diver, and he found the remains. That must have been hard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To call it the Happy Return.
Absolutely.
Ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is, in the little pack of postcards, there is another picture of the Happy Return, I think, that she found at the Fisherman's Museum.
What's its number? RX 90. Oh, is that
RX
198? It's hard to tell. 198.
Or,
that shows how many we had then.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll put that picture up, and you'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a sad song. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
it's
how
absolutely
Louis died. Uncle Louis.
That's right, and it just, you could feel a kind of chill in the room from that story just being heard and held and processed, and the shanty singers were like, oh, I could hear a couple of them like just, because it really does take you somewhere, and to hear, for me that's like the ballad, like a modern day ballad about real people and loss and people who still remember those folk who were on the boat as well, which is just incredible.
Yeah, they remember the folk on the boat. Also, how that when they found the remains, all the flags went at half-mast and everybody went to the beach.
Yeah, yeah.
To pay their respect.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lovely tradition. Yeah, you lose people, and it's just tragic. Tragic. Yeah. So 2 more songs. So The Land Where the Grandmas Grew. I think this is just amazing. So Elizabeth White, her grandma,
yes,
who who, I love this, women, owned net huts and boats, and women did back then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
did.
she's in the register as
She is.
an owner of those
She's
things.
on the she's on the map, isn't she?
Yeah.
Where her net sheds were, and yeah, good for her. But a woman you wouldn't mess with was what we were given in that song. You would not mess with her. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
But the lyrics are just fantastic. Yeah, I just felt like I was just taken on a wonderful journey through the old town, through the characters, the interviews and the honesty, as you said beautifully, honouring those lives of a village, part of the, the village, the old town is a village.
Yeah.
And where these people just go out and find your food, that, you're not in fields under threat, but you are at sea under threat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and if it's not mill pondy, it can get quite dangerous out there. And the last one, I think, the spirit of the sea, let the spirit of the sea set you free. So it's an ode to the bravery of these people that go out and catch your food. And don't ever forget that. So these men were scared going out there, but the song is about them abandoning their fear, if you like, just to go out and do that. So, oh come on, we're fishermen. It's what we do, and that you still feel that now.
Definitely.
For the fishermen, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny as you're talking through this, I can hear the tunes in my head, and what was wonderful about that last one was that everybody joined in, the audience joined in, and there was just this kind of like tingle, going through the whole thing. The Land Where the Grandmas Grew made me think of the Jumblies a bit, and the Owl and the Pussycat, and it's funny because there is an Edward Lear connection in Hastings as well. I think he lived here for a bit, so that's interesting that there are these other storytelling shapes, and the question of tell me who is your mother and what does she mean to you, or what did she mean to you is huge. So lovely that you've got that combination.
Yeah.
The other people that she invited on stage with her. So we mentioned Ellie at the beginning, but
oh my gosh,
Ellie did a number, didn't she?
She did.
A shanty.
She did a shanty.
Which was wonderful.
No, I've got,
and they did the thing that we do where they dressed complimentary. I don't know, we're not reading.
I know, not today. We didn't get the memo.
No, you didn't say, we're on holiday.
No.
So that was fantastic.
Yeah, so she did a call and response, didn't she?
That's right.
Which was brilliant. I can't think of the song now. I was listening to it on the recording, and now I can't think. So, yeah. Sorry, Ellie. It will come to me in a moment.
Yeah.
But the Land Where the Grandmas Grew. Tell me who is your mother. Tell me what is she to you. Her name was Elizabeth Jane, but I can't remember her face. So we sailed away for a year and a day. Yes. The land where the bong trees go.
Yeah.
But we don't. Yeah. The Land Where the Grandmas Grew.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me who's your grandma. But the mournful plight of Ellen White. So as she talks about each generation. Yeah.
Yeah, because she tells the story, doesn't she, of I think it might be Ellen White on the beach, learning by watching and waiting for her son to come back ashore.
Hoping.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes you to so many different places, and again, we say generosity a lot about people in Hastings and what goes on here, but there is a generosity in the way that Bev even set up this album launch of her album, but because there are so many different threads to it and people involved, to also, host other people who are also musicians and excellent in their own right on stage with her, was a real celebration. So
totally,
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, there's a word. Yeah, no, it's just come to me because it is her album, but that feels like it's a part of something much, much bigger. Yeah, which is the history of our old town and our fishing community. So she's put a spotlight on it.
That's
most
right.
Definitely, she's put a spotlight on that. But she's told it in such a generous way that you've got humour, you've got pathos, you've got. It's so tearful. I was spellbound through most of it. It was like, whoa, that is such an interesting story.
Yeah.
That is so fascinating. I was desperate for the next. Oh, tell me the next story. But because what she's doing is the generosity of bringing in, yes, other musicians. That's what happens on the night. But the story that you get is you're getting a window into everybody's world and an understanding of what these people actually mean to the town.
Yeah.
And they mean an enormous amount. So it's so illustrative.
Yeah.
It's I'm struggling with words again. I'm just struggling with words.
It's one of those nights where you go, oh my God, and
I'm
you
so
know,
glad
need
I'm
to tell
there.
everybody, and they need to come and see it, and it's great that it's going to be on at the White Rock Theatre in September, and that these other smaller events are happening, and you know, important. There's a lot going on with Hastings Contemporary and the fishing community
I'm
at
really
the
glad
moment,
about
and
that.
it's good that that's kind of coming to life in a peopled way. So they're going to be in there talking about their stories, which is fantastic. So
totally.
Just seeing how these things grow and develop. Watch this space, I think.
Definitely
really.
watch this space.
Yeah.
We'll give you all of the links to get the album yourself. If you like a beautifully put together, I don't know what this album is. It's a story. There is a word for an album like this, and I can't think what it's called. Can you remember what the word is? When you build an album out of a story and it just carries on. My son would know the word.
Concept album.
Concept album. That's what it is. It's
yeah.
a concept album. This is what it is, isn't it? It's definitely a concept. So it's a lovely. It's like an exhibition in song.
Yeah. And a memoir as well.
And a
That's
memoir.
what keeps coming to me, is that
Yeah.
but it's also live. There's something
Yeah.
that's still living in it. It
Yes.
doesn't feel like a capsule that's just going to be buried.
Oh, no.
It's connecting, and it continues to connect. Oh, that's another thing actually,
Come
the
on.
connection thing.
Yeah.
So Bev did have on the merch stand these postcards that you could go and go to Correspondence Corner, wasn't it, up near the bar?
By the bar.
And she'd got a load of stamps, and so you basically could just write to somebody there and then at the event, and she'd send it off, the next day or whatever. And that was such a nice way of continuing the connection that is so fundamental to her work. So it's just again, super generous, and
And she's a jolly nice woman.
Oh, and you got your album signed, didn't you? And then there was a picture with you and loads of other
I
folk.
know. We had a real fangirl moment. So there must have been 5 of us all bought the vinyl from years ago. This should be a poster. It's what a lovely image. And so we all got a fangirl picture. But it was great. It was really good. But she's very approachable, very accessible, very lovely. And a very good storyteller, very talented musician, how she writes the music she writes, good Lord, phenomenal. So again, our town, very lucky. Frank, all the musicians, everybody,
Honestly.
Ellie, the kin choir, the completely scuppered. It was lovely, Bud, everything. It was just a lovely evening. So we feel like as it's an album launch, remember, this is a taster. It's a little soupçon of what this will be.
Exactly.
Because I can't wait for that. That I'm really looking forward to. So, what have we got for details? It's September the
11th and 12th?
11th and 12th September at the White Rock Theatre Studio. So it'll be that lovely space that's all decked out downstairs. It'd be perfect for it. So get your tickets.
Get them now.
Yeah. So our town has plenty, darling, doesn't it?
Sure does, my love.
Aren't we lucky to call her a friend?
We are.
Yes.
Well done, Bev.
There we go,
Cheers.
Bev. Yeah.
Come listen to my story of land and salt and sea, of fishermen and fishing boats and a Hastings family that rise up every morning and set off with the sun to plough